Hello and welcome back to NT Coins World, your go-to destination for everything related to rare coins and collectibles. Today, we're diving into the world of Washington quarter dollars, and we have two very interesting examples for you. The 1973 Washington quarter dollar and the 1987 P Washington quarter dollar, both in fine condition. These two coins may seem common at first glance, but they have their own unique features that make them worth considering, especially for collectors who are interested in the finer details of American coinage. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into these two Washington quarters, exploring their historical context, mintage, market value, and some possible error varieties. If you're a coin collector or just someone curious about the history behind these coins, make sure to stay tuned, because you might be surprised at how valuable these seemingly simple quarters can be. Let's start with the first one. We're kicking things off with the 1973 Washington quarter dollar. When you think of the 1970s in terms of American coinage, the first thing that comes to mind is the transition away from silver. By the time the 1973 Washington quarter was struck, most US circulating coins had already been transitioned to copper-nickel-clad compositions, which replaced the previous silver content used in quarters before 1965. This quarter, which features a left-facing bust of George Washington on the obverse, was minted during a period where the US Mint was still producing large quantities of coins for circulation. The 1973 Washington quarter was no different. This coin was struck across several US Mint locations, including the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The mintage of the 1973 Washington quarter was substantial, with over 500 million quarters struck that year, making it one of the more common Washington quarters in circulation. However, even with such a large mintage, these coins still carry value for collectors, especially when it comes to finding high-quality examples, such as the one we're focusing on today, a fine condition coin. A fine condition coin, often designated as F12 in the coin grading scale, shows moderate wear but still retains enough detail to make the design elements easily identifiable. For this coin, Washington's portrait remains discernible, though you'll notice some wear along the high points of the coin, like his cheek and the folds of his hair. The reverse of the coin, which depicts a bald eagle perched on an olive branch, will also show some signs of wear, but the eagle's wings, the branch, and the coin's inscriptions should still be visible. Now let's talk about market value. While a 1973 Washington quarter in fine condition doesn't carry the kind of sky-high value associated with some rarer coins, it still holds some interest among collectors. The value of a 1973 Washington quarter in fine condition typically ranges from around $3 to $6, depending on the specific characteristics of the coin and its condition. For a coin in fine condition, the value is modest, but that doesn't mean it's not an important piece for collectors. However, it's important to note that certain varieties or error coins can significantly increase the value of this coin. For example, a 1973 double die error, where the design on the coin is struck twice, resulting in a doubled image, could fetch anywhere from $50 to $100 or even more, depending on the severity and quality of the error. While the 1973 Washington quarter doesn't have many widely recognized rare varieties, it still presents an opportunity for collectors to find unique examples with errors. So, even though the 1973 Washington quarter dollar isn't considered particularly rare on its own, it's still an interesting coin to keep an eye on, especially if you're collecting Washington quarters or looking for error varieties. And as time goes by, as more of these coins get lost in circulation or damaged, their scarcity might increase and their value could grow. Now that we've taken a look at the 1973 Washington quarter, let's shift our attention to a coin that's just a bit more recent. The second coin, 1987. P Washington quarter dollar. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint and is part of a more modern series of Washington quarters. Despite being minted just a few decades ago, the 1987 P Washington quarter carries its own significance in the world of coin collecting. The 1987 P Washington quarter was produced during a time when the US Mint was still using the copper-nickel-clad composition, a practice that started after 1965. The coin itself features the familiar design of George Washington's portrait on the obverse and the majestic eagle on the reverse, just like the earlier Washington quarters. However, there's something unique about this specific coin. In 1987, there was a significant increase in the production of quarters due to a rise in demand. The mintage of the 1987 P Washington quarter is quite high, with around 751 million quarters struck that year. That's a massive number, which makes this coin relatively easy to find. But that doesn't mean it's not valuable to collectors, especially when considering coins in better than average condition. This 1987 P Washington quarter in fine condition shows signs of wear but retains some noticeable detail. As with the 1973 coin, a fine condition coin in this series will have visible wear on Washington's portrait and some flattening of the details. The reverse side will also have some wear on the eagle's feathers and the olive branch, but the design will remain discernible. In terms of market value, a 1987 P Washington quarter in fine condition is not an exceptionally rare or high-value coin. Typically, this coin will be worth around $3 to $5 in fine condition, similar to the 1973 version. Again, these values reflect the coin's condition and the fact that it's still relatively easy to find in circulation today. However, as with any coin, there's a chance that you could come across an error coin or a variety that might elevate the value. For example, off-center errors, double strikes, or other minting mistakes could increase the value of this coin by a considerable amount, potentially bringing it to a value of $50 to $100 or more, depending on the severity of the error and collector interest. Additionally, some collectors are particularly interested in the 1987 P Washington quarter as part of a set of modern quarters, which include many different mints and designs. This can help maintain its appeal over time, even though it's not as scarce or valuable as older, rarer Washington quarters. So, there you have it, a closer look at the 1973 Washington quarter dollar and the 1987 P Washington quarter dollar. While neither of these coins will make you a fortune at first glance, they are still interesting pieces of American numismatic history, and with their relatively recent production, they remain readily available to collectors. The 1973 quarter, with its high mintage and potential for error varieties, and the 1987 P quarter, which was part of a large production run, both offer opportunities for collectors who are looking to complete their Washington quarter collections or find unique error coins. As always, the value of a coin isn't just about its metal content or rarity, it's about its place in history, its condition, and the demand among collectors. So even if you only have a 1973 Washington quarter or an 1887 P Washington quarter in your pocket, don't overlook these coins. They might just be worth more than you think, especially as they become scarcer over time. Thank you for joining us today on NT Coins World. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about other valuable coins, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot more exciting content coming your way, so stay tuned and happy collecting.